Everybody, welcome in on a Thursday, April the 13th, the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football. Under mostly sunny skies and the warmest day of the year, we're still resisting putting on the air conditioner around here, but it can happen as soon as this show is over. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at. If you like talking about discussing, getting your points in about Michigan sports, specifically Michigan football, I'm going to say that this is the place to be for you. We're live weekdays at 1 o'clock, 5 days a week, talking about the latest in Michigan sports. We've got some things with Michigan football today. And you knew that this was going to happen in the offseason, that there were going to be stories written about Michigan, that when the predictions were coming in this offseason for the upcoming season, that's 4.5 months away, that Michigan was going to be involved in that, and you were going to enjoy all of that. This is an offseason to enjoy. You can remember before these previous two seasons how those off seasons would go. Be like, Jim Harbaugh this, and Michigan can't beat Ohio State that, and they can't find Indianapolis with a map. I mean, all of it. And now, here they are, and I just saw, a story yesterday about Michigan looking great window of opportunity for Jim Harbaugh to not only win the Big Ten, beat Ohio State again, and go to Indianapolis, but to win it all. And nobody's putting any jokes or anything on it. It's just straight up like, people picking Michigan to win it all. We'll have a scenario for you where we'll ask you about this upcoming season. The transfer portal opens coming up, I think officially April the 15th, but guys, can jump in there or say they're going to jump in, but we could get some moving and shaking going on in, 2 days from here. I'll give you some season predictions. My first one, I thought about it. I went through the schedule. I could change, although last year I didn't change. I was at 11-1. And I stayed at 11-1, even throughout the season. I stayed through 11-1, even when they were 11-0. Instead of changing it to 12-0, I stood by my season prediction. I don't know why we do that. Like, we want to feel like we're right about our season prediction. That's why. And so you stay with it while it's intact. Even though I always know it can be difficult, but I'll make it. It's a difficult task. I will do it. Nonetheless, I always like being on here so we can hear from Michigan fans and we can get the feedback from them. Mark is first up. Mark says, smash or pass, WTF, not an appropriate reference for hundreds of teenage boys, dude. I would stop trying to be hip and edit that, bro. Well, Mark, I did put a little bit of thought into that. At first, I had take it or leave it. But then in a move, and maybe it's to your point, to try to be hip, I changed it to smash or pass. Now, I don't know really where it comes from. It's like, you pass on something or you're smashing it. I don't know about it being not appropriate or appropriate teenage boys and all of that. I have to admit, I wasn't thinking about that. I don't know about, the part about being hip. I admitted it. I was trying to come up with some new phrasing there. I thought it would be fun. I didn't think it was that deep. I didn't think I would get a criticism on it. But Mark, your thoughts have been passed along, and we'll consider it that maybe in the future, it's already locked and loaded in there. Maybe in the future, I won't go to the smash or pass. I will pass because of your criticism, Mark. We'll take it under consideration. I do appreciate your thoughts. I hope that it won't deter your enjoyment of going through some hypotheticals for the season, but maybe it will. And for that, I'm sorry. But without further ado, even though Mark doesn't like it, we are going to play the podcast VCast game, smash or pass. First, Mark, I want to tell you and everyone else that you want to know what's going on with the transfer portal, who Michigan's bringing in, some of the latest about what's going on, specifically with some of the players on their roster, like Jalen Llewellyn and his waiver, how that's coming along. You'll know by joining the Maize and Blue review today. Go to michigan.rivals.com. Don't worry if you're watching. We have it right across the crawl, so you can see that as you're considering and you are watching the show. All right, Mark and others, we have smash or pass. I've come up with 4 hypotheticals for the Michigan football season, and you have to pick one. And the first one I present to you is Michigan going undefeated again in the regular season. A perfecto, a back-to-back undefeated regular season, which of course means beating Michigan State, beating Penn State, and beating Ohio State for a third time and heading back to the Big Ten title game. Woo! Who wouldn't pick a perfect season, a perfecto for Michigan if offered? You know, I don't know how much you guys watch the NCAA tournament, but Samuel L. Jackson in one of the commercials with Shaq and Charles Barkley was a genie, and he was giving, and Spike Lee was in there, and he gave everybody a wish, and Charles picked wings, and instead of saying hot wings, he ended up with a pair of wings. Whatever. I'm kind of like a genie here. I am offering up a 12-0 perfect season. Just think about how much fun beating Ohio State is. Just thinking about how much fun beating them not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row would be. Also included in this smash or pass hypothetical, Michigan goes 12-0, and Blake Corum wins the Heisman Trophy. So you get Michigan going undefeated, going back to Indianapolis, and Blake Corum wins the Heisman. Unfortunately, there's going to be some downside, I think, on each one of these. Little spoiler, but that now is I can include for you. But Michigan's going to lose in the Big Ten title game in this scenario. So you get an undefeated season. You get the hardware for Blake Corum as he wins the Heisman Trophy. But unfortunately, Michigan falls. What an upset it would be, whoever it's going to be there over the West, in the West, right? Michigan would lose in Indianapolis. Would you smash or pass on that one? I will pass. Scenario number 2. Michigan goes 13-1. They win their first 13 games. So that includes winning the Big Ten championship again in Indianapolis for a third time. All the other things. Obviously, if you go 13-0, that includes beating all the rivals and Ohio State for a third time and a Big Ten championship for a third time. And then JJ, in this scenario, JJ McCarthy announces that he will be back for his senior season. Would you smash that right now, given the genie parameters of being able to take that right now? You get McCarthy coming back for 2024. You beat Ohio State. You go 13-0 like last year. Think about how much fun that was. But you do lose in the college semifinal again for a third year in a row. Woo! Tough one. Smash or pass? Mark saying neither. But I am going to pass on that one. Number 3 scenario. Michigan goes 14-1. They start out 14-0. They beat Ohio State. They go to Indianapolis and they win the Big Ten for the third straight time. They go to the college football playoff, and in the semifinal, they win, which advances them to the national championship game. All of your dreams, the season continues on into 2024, and you, unfortunately, though, in the national championship, you lose, but you lose a great game. In overtime, in the national championship game. But how about this? Afterwards, Michigan gets a commitment from Belleville quarterback Bryce Underwood. So not only do you get a 14-0 and a trip to the national championship game that you lose in one of the greatest games ever, you get a commitment from Bryce Underwood. Would you smash that scenario right here, right now, today? Or would you pass? Boy, you got to really consider this one all the way to the end, to the finish line in overtime. Your dreams are there. And then you got Jaden Davis, who's committed. And you're getting a commitment then from Bryce Underwood. You got to really think about smashing that one. I'm going to pass. Woo! One more for you. Smash or pass. Number 4. Michigan wins the national championship. They go 15-0. They beat Ohio State. They win the conference title game. Of course, they beat Michigan State. And they win the Natty, the national championship. Your 2023 college football national champion is the Michigan Wolverines. Congratulations. And not just, undefeated, 15-0. Everything's there. There is a but in this game. Here's the but. But Michigan State wins. This triggers Michigan State then to win the college basketball national championship. So you could take Michigan winning it all in football. 15-0, you get that. But if you accept the scenario, it's going to trigger also Michigan State winning the college basketball national championship. Think that one over. I have thought it over as I put these scenarios together, and I am going to smash this one. Now, no, is it going to be fun watching Michigan State, who got Malik Hall back yesterday, and Walker last week, and they get a great recruiting class, and Tom Izzo would get ring number 2, and oh my gosh, it would be insufferable. But I think you and me and everyone would be too busy celebrating the college football national championship. And if Michigan basketball, you thought, had championship aspirations, and it's a long ways away, and they can add and subtract a bunch of players, and hell, San Diego State went to the title game this year, so who am I to say that Michigan couldn't get there? But I don't feel like they're going to the national. I don't feel like they have national championship or even Final Four aspirations. If they did, I may have to pass on this one, even though it would mean an auto natty. What a life. But I am going to smash number 4. Let me go back and give you the scenarios again and see on smash and pass. 12-0, perfect season. Blake Corum wins the Heisman, but you lose the Big Ten title game. Would you smash or pass that one? Number 2, 13-1, but you lose in the college football semifinal, but J.J. McCarthy announces that he'll be back for his senior season. Smash or pass? Number 3, 14-1. This means you get to the national championship game, you do all that, but you lose in overtime in the Natty. But afterwards, you get a commitment from Bryce Underwood. You might want to get that finger close to the smash button. Or the one that I smashed, a Natty. 15-0. Michigan, the national championships, they sit atop the world in college football. But it triggers then Michigan State to ultimately win the college basketball national championship. A little distasteful, I'll admit. But given that by the genie, if Samuel L. Jackson came in with that lamp, I would say smash to number 4. Now let's see what the people are saying. Let's see if Mark is still around. He may have just taken off. Scott, this will be a smash season, another top 5 finish, possibly a national title if we unleash our offense. Unleash. You know, Michigan, where were they last year? When you say unleash the offense, Scott, you know, Michigan was a top 5 offense in the country last year, right? Certainly were top 10. I think they might have been top 5 offense and defense. I think certainly they were top 5 offense and defense. But, you know, this is pretty good. But you're putting the condition that Michigan has to unleash the offense. Andres, he's 100% smashing Michigan going playoff bounds again. U of M hopes, hard pass. It's good to see the feedback king, JP, back. Maybe he was on vacation. Maybe he didn't like some of the subject matter. But here he is, and he is back. People jumping on Mark a little bit for him not liking the smash or pass segment. Can't please everybody, Scott, you know? Yeah, I didn't think it was all that deep, but however, there is a world that I don't really know where smash and pass is used. You know, it could be used in the drug culture. It could be used, you know, I don't know. Mark was talking about teenage boys. My son is a teenage boy. Maybe I should have called him up, which I do sometimes, and say, hey, what do you think of me? What do you think of me going out there and using this? And sometimes he does, gives me the no, stay away from that. Not often, though. I think the last time I was asking him, I don't really understand the whole phrase out of pocket. You know, you're living out of pocket, but it seems like out of pocket is used in a bunch of different things. Like I could be out of pocket where I might not be able to be reached. I could be out of pocket where I am by spending my own money, which is the way I would use it. You know, I have to, spend out of pocket. Or it seems to be just thrown out there as like a blanket thing that younger people use to be like that, it's kind of dicey. It's a dicey situation. So I don't really get that. I asked him. So I just don't use it. I'm not going out of pocket on this podcast. So, Andres, I'm with you. I didn't get into this. Like if I get charged, maybe I'll be smeared all over the internet. Like this 52-year-old guy was out here talking about smash or pass. What an idiot. And he was even called out on the carpet right off the bat, and he continued. And I'll have to just be honest. I'll raise my right hand right now. I'm with you, Andres. I'm not going that deep. Again, I was going to go take it or leave it. But I thought with the, 2023, I thought, smash or pass. And honestly, where did I get it from? And this might be the indictment Mark has been waiting for. I did get it from TikTok. Once in a while, I'll be scrolling away on TikTok, and there'll be a setup where the person will have a scenario. I don't know. He says teenage boys. It could be teenage girls where they just put up. It could be like hamburger, pass, pizza, pass, crab legs, smash. And I've seen it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I didn't think it was all that. That's what I thought it was, just a little TikTok fun. I didn't think it was that deep, but I don't know. Like I said, Mark may have something. He may know something. In the circles that he runs with, it might, mean a little bit something else. I wasn't thinking gutter. Again, could be wrong. Kenneth is just talking about running it back. Let's go. Number one is completely illogical. If Michigan is undefeated and Corum wins the Heisman, the train wreck from the West that rolls out on the field is getting body bagged. It's a good point, Andres. It's one that would be really shocking. Has the West ever beaten the East in the Big Ten title game? I don't think so. I don't even know if there's been a close game. There certainly hasn't been with Michigan. They smacked around Purdue pretty good. What was it, 40? It almost doubled them up, 42-22. And then against Iowa, they damn near shut out the Hawks, 42-3. So Michigan's roughed up their counterparts. But, when you get into the hypotheticals, stranger things have happened. You can't have this like gigantic upset. Hell, look, TCU upset Michigan last year in the semifinal. 7 out of 10 times. I don't think that happens. But there they were on that day. And in this scenario, so it's not illogical, Andres. It's just a somewhat far-fetched. Because if I'll try to make it logical, upsets happen every year in college football. Michigan would be a large favorite over whoever the West Division put in there, but upsets happen all the time. I don't know if that A equals B equals C there if that stands up to logic or philosophy or not, but I tried to do it. Yeah, see, we're all glad JP's back. We notice when you're not in. Mark's ready to smash all 4. He loves the outcome. Yeah, I was just going to say, if this was real, which would be amazing, just going undefeated. If Michigan did, as much as Andres, makes the point of losing in the Big Ten title game, what a downer that would be. But beating Ohio State 3 times in a row and going undefeated, as much fun as that ride is, it's very tempting to just go and hit the button right now. Andres is okay. He's going to go to number 4. And if you forget what number 4 is, Michigan being undefeated. Undefeated, 15-0. But you also handed over, this is like the unifying Michigan State podcast. Michigan wins the college football national championship, and then Michigan State wins the college basketball national championship. Andres is smashing it. You're smashing any 12-0, beating Penn State on the road and OSU 3 straight. No one throws that 8-ball outcome away. Yeah, right off the bat, Mark doesn't want to go. And he didn't need any more. I don't need to know what's behind door number 2 or 3 or 4. I'll just go with number 1, Mark. And sometimes it's like that on the game shows. You don't know how good you get presented this great outcome. And it's like, well, wait a second. And you got a Heisman to boot there, Mark. Come on. AM doesn't care about basketball, missing the tourney 10 straight years if it meant that football team won the chip. Okay, Andres, now that is getting into some real negativity around basketball. 10 years. Now, I get it. I think, and he's being honest, which is, it's always appreciated. Honesty is appreciated. I do know people. Andres, a lot of my friends are just like you. The truth be told, they would take for a national, they would take a five-star recruit over Michigan making the Final Four in basketball. I've presented that hypothetical. Do a lot of these, I guess, over the years. They would take a five-star recruit, for instance, Bryce Underwood, over Michigan making a Final Four in basketball over the next 4 years. They would take Bryce Underwood, just like that. No questions asked. Now, given that scenario, this is a bonus smasher pass. You get a commitment from Bryce Underwood, a 25 quarterback, or you get Michigan in that time that he would be in Ann Arbor Underwood, 3 years, 25, 26, 27. Michigan would make the Final Four in basketball. You get to pick. Are you smashing the Underwood or are you smashing basketball? Now, in this, I would. It's nothing against football. I would take the basketball one. A Final Four. Come on. Come on, AM. But I have a feeling a lot of people would hit Underwood. JJ, Corum, of course, they should be back in the playoffs. That's what Jay is saying. Mark loves the idea of 12-0 and any postseason outcome. Scott is making his own prediction. Michigan goes 15-0, wins the national title. Blake Corum wins the Heisman Trophy. It's not, Scott, this is not crazy talk. This is why it really is fun to be a Michigan fan right now. 3 and 4 years ago, I'd see people on Twitter, sticking their chest out, talking about Michigan football. And, I get it. I'm a big fan of the program and watching the games and everything else. But there was a hubris, that, you're sitting around talking about, it being great and everything, but it really wasn't. They hadn't been in Indianapolis. They were not able to beat Ohio State. So while people were still, didn't stop people from talking, from boasting, from, I don't know, what's his name? Scott Bell, from going on Twitter and ragging on, just everybody else and telling everybody how great Michigan was, and they hadn't won anything. But now Bell can sit there every day and be like, woo, before he had to really reach for statistics, and now there's no reaching. He just looks and goes, boop, send. AM is continuing on. I don't live near any Sparties, but you can always just come back with, you're a basketball school, checkmate. JP wants Michigan to win out. College football champ. Whoa. Jawan gets fired after the college basketball season. As a previous NBA big man, you can't let Hunter walk. I really have questions about how that played out. Ooh. JP, I completely understand where you're coming from. And coming up in this show, I have Hunter Dickinson talk coming your way. How about that? I use smash or pass when it comes to chicken wings, not kids. Shaking my head. Chicken wings. The punters, also somebody that we do not see, I don't know, once a month, maybe a little bit more during the football season. Always appreciated with his feedback, though. He thinks he will sweat it out about whether to get into the college football with a loss in Happy Valley. Ultimately, we get to the national championship. So he's saying that Michigan's going to drop a game this year at Penn State, but still get to the college football playoff, a la Ohio State this year. It's not the most preferable route, punters, but in the end, it'd have been interesting to actually have a conversation with an Ohio State fan. You don't do that very often. There's a claim that there's always some lurking around there on this show to see what kind of blasphemy that I'd play it Straight up. Ohio State's been punched and smacked up and down the field the last 2 years. You got to wear that. And Michigan should be the favorite to win 3 straight years. They got their quarterback coming back. The defense is stacked. The game is in Ann Arbor. Those ghosts of the past 20 years or so, also the fans thinking that Ohio State's playing, underboard, cheating with the recruit. All that's gone, Buckeyes. But I ask you, if Ohio State would have won that championship last year, let's say that field goal goes in against Georgia and they find a way to beat TCU and they win the Natty. Is there some point where they're standing up there where the confetti goes up and somebody asks them, but you guys lost to Michigan? Yeah, but we won the national championship. Yeah, the Penn State loss. I noticed that you said Penn State. That might be an old smash or pass. Michigan wins the national championship. But they don't win the Big Ten because they have a loss, and it's to Ohio State. Are you smashing that one? Win the championship, but lose to Ohio State. Remember, after this year, Michigan's going to be playing Ohio State twice. Regular season, and then in the Big Ten title game. That's going to happen a lot. So that's why this year would be nice to be able to get that three-peat, because you'll do it under these old rules, because after this, there'll be a lot of times you're going to be playing them too. And of course, last year, it was close where these two teams could have played in the national championship game. Yes, I wish, now, of course, now, I wish that was the case. That means Michigan would have won. Worst statement ever by Dennis is pizza pass. I don't understand that. You think I'm passing on very much pizza? My daughter brought pizza home last night. It was late. And I'd been looked over there, and what was a surprise as I peeked under the lid, which I shouldn't have done to begin with, but I did. She's a vegetarian, and there was pepperoni on the pizza. So I immediately was like, why is there pepperoni on the pizza? And she's like, they put it on there. I'm done with it. You can have it. So there was no passing on the pizza, OT. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. Andre's saying that Wisconsin, he believes, won the Big Ten title one time. Jason says, what do you think about a Michigan-Iowa Big Ten championship? You'd love to see JJ versus Kate. It would be nice. As I was walking through it, and I've got some predictions for you coming up, season predictions, just for, that would be nice. It would be, because of the JJ Cade, and I'll put Eric All in there as well. It would make for some drama. But I just want to see a different team. Purdue, just change it up a little bit. So I picked a different squad. Who would you hate to lose in the West to? Losing to Iowa with Cade would really be something. Who's Nebraska? It's like, who's any losing to Nebraska, whiskey, none of them, losing to Northwestern, it's been done. You don't expect it. It just like pops up every, decade or so. And then you're like, whoa, you think you can handle it. I don't think I really handle any of these well. These two in the middle have two new coaches. Losing to Cade, that would be insufferable. I'll go Northwestern. Although it's not a very fun game picking who you're going to lose to. Okay, let's get to see where Mark is at, if he's come back. No, he just took off. He took off. People are still weighing in on smash and pass. I think we got it. Hence, smash 12-0. Northwestern is hot trash. All right. Moving on. I think we're going to get some feedback from JP here because he asks about one Hunter Dickinson. I want to ask you, I don't think, it's going to be tough to be honest here because as I've mentioned, there is still a possibility where even though Hunter Dickinson has gone into the transfer portal, that he returns to Michigan. Small chance, probably not going to happen, which is going to affect your opinion, I believe. But Hunter is expected to, I think he said on his podcast, I'm not 100% sure about that, but whatever. He's going to visit up with Georgetown and Maryland. And then he might talk to Michigan next week. I'm asking you, you're a Michigan fan, and this is the hard part because you're thinking, well, he just said that there's a small chance, so I'm just going to say no. Would you talk to Hunter Dickinson if he wanted to possibly come back to Michigan for his senior year? I emphatically say yes. I say absolutely. Why do I say that? Well, Hunter Dickinson is a talent. Hunter Dickinson is not only one of the best players, would be the best player on Michigan's team, one of the best players in the Big Ten. He's one of the best players in the country. So and he's the number one player in the portal. He's the biggest name ever in the transfer portal. The portal's only been out for a couple of years, but so am I going to take a game changer 7-1 Dickinson if he wanted to come back to Michigan? No hard feelings. Let's go. Yes, I would take him back. I would welcome him back with open arms. I don't think the people will say that they will because they don't believe he is coming back. So it's going to be like, so you've already said your goodbyes and now you have to be like, and this isn't even a hypothetical. I guess it is hypothetical. I'm asking you if you would talk to him or would you just be like, move on. We've moved on. Because you're mad at Hunter for leaving. Gary's weighing in. He says, I think Hunter will come back after visiting Maryland and Georgetown. Look, if he went out there, as much as I didn't like it, what it meant for the Michigan basketball program and what it meant for Juwan Howard. And, like here he is, like the ultimate big man coach and Hunter's like the ultimate big man. And Dickinson's like, I'm out because the team's not going anywhere and I'm not getting the kind of money I want, name, image, and likeness. It's like, I don't want to call them indictments, but they're definitely, spots that you look at with the program where you're like, wow, that doesn't make you feel really good, if you're a Michigan basketball fan. However, the prospects for both Maryland and Georgetown, this is not, Patrick Ewing's, Georgetown days and Sleepy Floyd, and, AI. Georgetown sucks. And then Maryland, I know they made the tournament and everything last year, but they're not also hot either. Like Michigan is as good. They're better than both of these teams. So now we're talking about money. And, I really have to. I would be disappointed. Michigan's whole stance with name, image, and likeness was like, yeah, we're not getting involved in all the stuff. We're not tampering with players. We're not promising money up front. The whole song and dance. But if you stay around, you will be rewarded. Dickinson should be rewarded. Michigan should be getting a treasure chest if Dickinson's coming back next week and saying, hey, I'm waving around the cash. Hypothetically again. Here you go, Hunter. Open up the briefcase. Boom. Cash. Come on back. So we'll see. Now, after JP said all of what he said, now what's he thinking about the possibility of Dickinson coming back? I would hear Hunter out for sure, yet I'd want answers to some questions. He took the majority of the shots this year and still wanted to walk. Why? I think the answer is he wanted to walk because he looks at this roster and they don't necessarily look like they're going back to the or you're going to be one of the top half teams in the Big Ten, or a team that's going to get to the NCAA tournament, and or he's not really getting the love with the name, image, and likeness. And I know there's some reports like, oh, man, he's doing really well, and I saw some of that. I don't know. And maybe we need to adjust. Like I said, I get what you're saying there. I mean, it doesn't look very good. It could be just like a free agent move. Let me go out there and see what I could get. He might have said that, like, he didn't come out publicly to Michigan. He told a couple of his boys or whatever. But he could have said to Juwan, like, look, I'm thinking I could get, I don't know, $1.5 million from Kansas. I want to see what I'm worth. I'm getting whatever he's getting, 100, 200, 300,000 from Michigan. I'm guessing. And he's saying, I want to see if I can get 1.5 from Georgetown. Money talks. I want to see if I could go to somewhere like Kansas where I know I'm going to get into the tournament and I'm going to get 3 times the amount of money that I would get if I was at Michigan. Duke just lost some recruit. They're in the transfer portal. They're looking for a big man. What if Duke said, here's $2 million? I think it's either money or the prospects of the team, JP. Now, maybe, there could be other like drama, I know he's got a girlfriend, but maybe he was, I don't know, come up with anything. I don't want to make up a hypothetical there. I mean, you can make up your own, but that's the question. That's at least my answer. There's Scott. I'm going to call him a little silly Scott here. Let Hunter go somewhere else and help lose games in the first few minutes. Now, Scott, it's a little silly. You're just a little bit upset about Dickinson, which is understandable, but so it's hard. I do know it's hard. OJ Jr., one of the best on the feedback. I don't know this team could score more transition points without Dickinson, but can't blame Hunter if he can get more money. Here's Gary's got a number. Hunter only makes $63,000 a year. Yeah, if Hunter said that, I'll take his word for it. So, yeah, Hunter's thinking that maybe he can get 6 figures somewhere. Michigan was like, we'll give you 65 if you come back. Well, maybe that's why he feels like he's got to steal money. I say that if you're listening to the podcast, you say, why would you say that? Because I've got a picture of him in his ski mask where he said he was going to go steal the win in Madison. Where earlier he had called their fans a bunch of, what do you call them? Scumbags. Hunter's, there's never a dull moment, I guess, when you got Dickinson around. I put a tweet out about how it was kind of a scumbag move towards Michigan. Remember what Hunter did? Play on his little scumbag towards Madison and the whole thing. And people didn't appreciate that from me. Why am I trouncing on a kid and everything else? I was trying to be funny. But I think the humor was missed by a lot. OJ is saying Hunter's closer to 630,000 than 63. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you don't have to tell everyone what you're getting paid. So I know there's in Mason Blue Review, we're behind the scenes talking to people and what it's about. So we might have an idea from what people are saying, but I don't know. Like, you guys can say whatever they want there. Okay. I wanted to put up what I think the starting 5 looks like for Michigan. I'm going to give you the predictions for the season as well. Nimari Burnett is a player that started out at Texas Tech, and then he went to Alabama. He was in the transfer portal, and now he is coming to Michigan. I wanted to watch a little bit of the film so you could get a look if you have not punched it up yourself. But you can see him going to the rim here and punching one in. So he got some athleticism coming in. Definitely can get up, You'd say, hey, 6'4", can he dunk? Answer, yes. Can he put the ball on the floor and get to the rim? Yes. What does that jumper look like? If you had a contested one there, that's a nice. But a lot of these are open, and his three-point percentage wasn't great. There's another one that was kind of contested, though. Now you get to see in the open floor. There's a little athleticism. Oh, I think he missed that one. Here he is in the open floor. Ooh, that is called a Euro step from right to left. I'm a big fan of the Euro step. Step backs and Euro steps. I can't really do a Euro step myself. Nice layup. But here's a wide open three. Splash. His three-pointer looks good. Sometimes you look like guys have a little hitch in their giddy up or something. You say, I don't really like that three. As I watch him at 6'4", he reminds me of somebody that I was watching in the play-in game with his style. He's not as big, but the former Detroit Piston, Sadiq Bey, how he kind of he holds the ball in front of him on his three and then casts it. That was wet. Sorry, Mark, this is what the youngsters use. Look at there, all alone. Bang! Count it. There's another wide open one. I got the roll. Shooter's touch. There he is putting it on the floor. They can go to the left, go to the right. And how much more time do we got here? Here's another one against Tennessee. A couple more minutes. This is Nimari Burnett. Good free throw shooter. It's that three-point percentage that you look at that, doesn't really turn you on if you're a Michigan fan, because it's 32%. He did start his games at Alabama this year before some of the youngsters from the number one Crimson Tide ended up taking him and putting him to the bench. That's why he got himself in the transfer portal. A little Sadiq Bey. Here he is working the offensive glass. But what you have when it comes down to Burnett is that he started out his career at Texas Tech, and then he transferred to Alabama. So he's got some nice size for a wing or shooting guard. But here's the points. Burnett, 5.5 points per game. 79% free throw shooter, 32% from downtown. This is like numbers wise, like Joey Baker just averaged 6.5 points. And, there's a lot of Michigan fans. He seemed to be like, certainly when he played well, Michigan seemed to play well, talking about Joey Buckets, but he wasn't averaging double figures. He averaged around what Burnett did. Now he shot a little bit better percentage from downtown, and then way less at the free throw line, which was weird. And this is good from Burnett. He's a good free throw shooter, which suggests, with the form, and that that this can be pushed up. You'd like to see this above 35%, so it's not so far away. But if you're asking me, and you should, what do I think of Burnett and Michigan in terms of where he plays and everything else? I'm solid on McDaniel, Love, and Reed. I am not so solid on Nimari Burnett and Trey Jackson. I would still like to see Michigan get into the transfer portal and get some bigger time players and get in there. What I would really like is to be able to put Hunter Dickinson's name down here at the bottom. Now we're really talking. I think that would be nice. And, when you look at Michigan's bench, it's not like they can just take these guys and say, hey, we're going to take your scholarship away, put you on some NLI scholarship. Let's process you. You're not coming anyways because of grades. All of this kind of stuff. That's what a lot of people are saying. Why not do this? Why not do that? It's harsh. But it's kind of the game now. And I think I'm like this. Anybody that comes to Michigan and plays at Michigan, I want them to be the best version of themselves. I want it to work out for them. I want it to work out for Michigan. Meanwhile, if it's not working out at Michigan and they're on the bench, I would hope that this is where it gets a little bit where you're like, yeah, you're hoping the best for them, but kind of hoping the best for Michigan too. And it just doesn't seem like it's a great marriage. So then you hope they can go somewhere and find a spot where it can work out. A lot of these guys are like, why would I go anywhere? Nobody else. I'm not going to be in a better situation than Michigan. I'm just going to stay here. So you can't just push guys out. You can do it in so many words. Fans can do it. Certainly have. Other people can, but as a coach, you got to stand by all of those guys. All right. Andres, we know, is not excited about Michigan basketball. He's ready for them to miss the tournament. So there you go. And OT saying that he is a good defender. Michigan really needs that. Yeah, you need a good defender. You also need somebody that can fill it up from downtown and provide some scoring. I think that what would be best is if you're talking about Burnett being more of a bench player rather than a starter, and I think you might feel better about him being in a rotation and somebody that's coming off the bench rather than getting those starter minutes. Otis asking about the minutes, heavier minutes towards the beginning of the season, and then he started the first 8 games for Alabama, then his minutes dropped and so did the scoring for Burnett. Big reason why he is in the transfer portal. All right. With the time remaining, I have gone through and I have predicted the upcoming football season for Michigan. This is my first attempt at it. If you for some reason don't watch any other shows and you come back in August and you're like, hey, what's going on in the Maize and Blue Reviews Good Afternoon show? And I'm doing season prediction version, 3 or 4.0, things could change. That's what I'm saying. Without further ado, let's go to it. There's the non-conference schedule this year. I think Michigan is going to handle the non-conference schedule relatively easy with wins over East Carolina, 50-13, UNLV, 55-9, and Bowling Green, 49-17. There's a lot of Michigan men on this Bowling Green team. I think you might call the dogs off, and then I see some late touchdowns and some late scoring for Bowling Green, but this could be 49-0 at the half, 17 points as I'm picturing it play out in my mind. But Michigan 3-0 in their non-conference. They haven't lost a non-conference game since 2018 at Notre Dame. So that continues. Let's look at those first 5 games of the Big Ten portion of the schedule. Rutgers, 2 years ago, they gave Michigan a tough time at home. Not so much here. It says 30-13, Michigan over Rutgers. Oh, Scarlet Knights had the lead on the Wolverines last year at half, didn't they? And so Michigan came back and got it going. I know they did. I'm asking the question. I know the answer. 30-13. That puts Michigan 4-0. These 2 roadies, woo, these could be tough. Michigan pulls away late at Nebraska. We were talking with Jim Scarcelli about the game there 2 years ago. Matt Rule is the head coach. Great fan support there for the Cornhuskers, but they lose 40-29. Nebraska does. Then Michigan will row over to Minneapolis to take on the Gophers. You might say, wow, 30 points Minnesota's going to put up on Michigan's defense? I don't know. Maybe they'll blow out everybody, but they are. I do have them winning the game 41-30. Indiana, I think Michigan destroys, as well as going up to East Lansing and beating Michigan State 49-17. Dooney Don thinks it'll be a lot closer than 49-17. You could be right. That's where I'm sitting right now with Michigan against Michigan State. I think it's going to be 49-17. Let's look at the last 5 games, including, well, you'll see, because I have the Big Ten tournament in here. I have Michigan beating Purdue and their new head coach, and that's going to be in Ann Arbor. And Michigan gets their season high, 59-14. How about these last two road games? This is tough. Maryland, Maryland, Ohio State plays. They were playing Maryland a lot before the Michigan game, and now Michigan's playing Maryland. I think these last two road games, these are going to be the ones that are going to be the toughies. Michigan squeaking by in Happy Valley 28-24. They find a way to get it done, just like they did 2 years ago in the 21-17 victory. This time, a 4-point victory, 28-24, and at Maryland, 34-28. Now, if you think about it, Michigan just beat Maryland 34-27 this year, so kind of a repeat of last year, although J.J. McCarthy much more comfortable this year. And then Ohio State, Michigan rolls by 20. Well, they've scored 45 and 42 the last 2 years against Ohio State. They bump it up a little bit. Ohio State scored 23 points last year. I'm giving Ohio State some more points. Then, 2 years ago, Ohio State scored 27. So I do have Ohio State improving a little bit, but Michigan still handling the Buckeyes and winning 3 in a row. And then, Iowa would make for very interesting headlines with, McNamara going up against his former team and all that. But I'm going to go with Illinois. Illinois looks like the best team. That's why. And in Illinois, obviously played Michigan pretty tough last year. But I have Michigan winning in the Big Ten tournament, Big Ten title game, 30-17, 12-0, 13-0 is my prediction right now. There they all are, all the scores. Read them and weep. I've even gone to the college football Final Four. +2. I think Michigan will be back in the college football playoffs. I didn't advance it through, but as I sit here right now, this could be the ones that I change up. I've got Florida State being one of the teams in the college football playoffs, along with Georgia getting back there. And I like LSU. I like their quarterback more than others. I'm going to put LSU in there. I know I'm cheap. Chip Kelly, SEC, they suck, but I got them in there. The two on the outside looking in, Washington, Michael Penix Jr., he can really spin it. Alabama's always there. Hell, even if they have 2 losses, they could be right there. All right. Mark says, take State plus the 32. Okay. Another butt kicking of OSU. Sign me up. AM says everyone is so much in love with Illinois. They lost their running back and a bunch of starters. Yeah, you know what? When you start going through the West, you start looking at Rule, the first year at Nebraska. You going with him? Are you looking at the new head coach at Wisconsin and thinking, hey, that's a hell of a coach. What's going on right there? The former, I don't know, usually whiskey and Nebraska. I could see it. I'm not ready to put Northwestern up there. And, Iowa, I don't really think, even with Cade, that it's going to be so much. So, I'm not very impressed overall with the West. But I guess I'm involved with everyone else. I'm not in love with Illinois. I'm just not as impressed with the other teams that are there. So that's how I see it as things sit right now. All right. That's today's show. All the way back to Mark. I'm sorry. He didn't like the phrasing of the show. I didn't see anybody else that really was lining up with you about my hipness. Maybe there'll be some comments. Maybe somebody will give me some further details on Smash and Pass. But that was the show today. I stayed with it. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow here on the Maize and Blue. We'll see you on the Den. That's the posting board where, we're talking Michigan football, Michigan basketball all day, all night. We'll see you over there. Till tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting those thumbs up. And for you, I give you a thumbs up. Have a great day. I think I'm putting the air conditioner on.